Sup shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SB Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out some tracks from an act named Sephyr Patriq. Sephyr Patriq? Sephyr Patriq. We're going to switch over to here. We've got Embrace, Feel the Same, Us, Fuse, and Never Bit the Apple. So without further ado, we're going to get into Embrace, listen to each of these tracks from start till finish, and hear what we think. Oh, classy. Can we just go back and have a quick listen to everything that occurred just then? One more time. Piano, ascending strings, drums, and a trumpet. Lovely Y vibrato to that vocal delivery. And then there's this delay on it. It's stunning. There's so much on display here. Wow, going right to the bottom of his range there. It's so classy. Sounds like a singer who really knows himself and his vocal abilities. We were once full bloom, but that growth has left the room. I knew we were doomed when that phone had you consumed. That phone had you consumed. It's so classy as well, how the brass comes in occasionally at the end of the tail ends of each of these verse lines. It's gorgeous. And the vocal harmonies. He goes into his falsetto so seamlessly. It's impressive. Have we got like lady vocals in there? Have we got this really beautiful luscious harmony going on? You've got, what is that harmony? Boom 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 boom. Is that like a ninth or a second harmony there? These kind of really jazzy extended harmonies in this soul song. This R&B is just luscious. And just back into the verse. It's phenomenal. Having that kind of more sort of melody-oriented vocal parts transitioning back into the second verse. It's a really slick production so far. Again, it's such a wide range in the pitch of it. There's so much room in the mix because of the bass and drum focus with the cymbals, of course, that he can just swim up and down and do whatever the heck he wants. And like these kind of the panning of those different kind of sound effects creates like an illustration, and it's such wonderful panning there. It's a really full sounding track. And one more time with that bit, just because I think I missed it. Here we go. Again, a break from the lyric. Kind of like going in between playing around with the piano parts. It kind of makes me wonder whether I'm actually just misinterpreting. You know, I think I said there were like lady vocals in there before. I just because of the range, but the pitch. But this guy is such a what? How many octaves can Fear do? With these extended chords and the harmonies and play, it's just a wild experience throughout this track. And we got ba 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 ba. You know, you got that theme continuing, repeating throughout. The vocal parts are obviously the focal part of the mix. They're just so active and so energetic and so interesting. You know, they're constantly trying to get your attention, but in the most wholesome way. So he's talking about the mistakes he made, but they want to get closer. Is that correct? Again, that panning as well with the backing vocals and sort of like the chorus-like effect is just is sublime. It's oh, right. So he ended up alone because of mistakes he made, and he wishes that they could have that embrace. Are the what abouts kind of like the response to what he's talking about? Is it the to and fro between them, the conversation? Oh, because he's saying what about? Oh, because of all these things to take into consideration. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that there are other vocalists that are sort of joining in to help out Fear Patriq, and that's fine. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The different vocal textures can add a nice sort of combination and sort of extra little bit of glint to the mix. It adds a little bit of, it's like the icing on the cake, really. Let's try another door. Was that whistle voice? Wow, we're in that territory. Dude, I'm blown away by that. That was an incredible like a display of what Patriq can do as a singer. I think the instrumentation was really nice and mature. I do think it communicated the kind of the melancholy the sort of contemporary melancholy that can come with wishing you had someone with you and sort of actually no, it's not melancholy. That's not what's the words I'm trying to think of here. There's like a bit of sadness, but then there's also sort of a maturity understanding that you probably could have done more to avoid the situation occurring in the first place. It's not like it's an edgy sort of, oh, you know, I wish I, you know, back, everything's terrible. It's more like It's more like of a balanced sort of viewpoint of the relationship where they ended up separating, and he is kind of scared of like taking chances on something else. It's an interesting piece, Embrace. Us Fuse, number 2. Oh, we're starting with a harp. Because we had so many different instruments in the first one, didn't we, Embrace? It was incredibly interesting composition. Like, because remembering these tracks are all around the 6-minute mark, that is incredibly long for like a song nowadays, especially in certain genres of music. And I love the fact that Sephyr Patriq is taking, you know, their time with this. Oh. It's, yeah, I just can't get away from like how many different ways like he can vocalize himself. There's these different styles he's incorporating. It's so cool to hear a singer who can not only go from just having himself as the centerfold to filling up the entirety of the orchestration by himself alone. Like he could do a cappella for all I know, you know, like. Because if you removed the vocals of singing from this song, it would still sound really good, but there's just so much sort of character to the way that what sort of Sephyr is bringing to this. Nice low into that bass synth. Really lovely. I know I should be talking about the lyrics, but I'm just paying attention to like the music production as well. It's just stunning, dude. Her falsetto is angelic. Okay, I'm gonna pay real close attention to this next verse, but just how I'm loving the 90s vibe I get from this. A lot of music in the 90s kind of had this kind of the jingles and everything like that, and you had the drums like this and the bass and a lot of these kind of sort of synthy stringy bits, and it's just it's making me sort of feel sort of semi-nostalgic. He's kind of painting that like example of them just together underneath the stars and the moon, kind of together in their unity. And that crescendo when they all come together, is a beautiful sort of like, I don't know exactly, it sounds like it's almost like, it just takes a phenomenal amount of vocal control to get it sounding that clean. So this sort of be sort of like going over the times they met up and they spent time together doing things, you know, the stuff that couples do, that when they're. Oh, that is so pure and lovable, man. I think it's nice to have a change at this halfway point especially when you got a 6-minute song. It's good to cut it down the middle and kind of give us, the listener, something fresh to sink their teeth into. Sort of going a little bit more minimalist in this bit. there's a similarity between the way that there's a similarity between that's being staged and how the piano is being staged in Embrace. He likes to do sort of interlude bits where he has da-dun, like kind of have the first beat, and like kind of have an offbeat feel, or like on the second and fourth accent for some of those other instrumental parts. It's kind of a call and answer response as well, like what we had with the What About in Embrace.
Spend your whole life waiting for someone special. You search here and there, and you can't really find anybody. But then it's you, and it's like a dream. It's like a dream come true. When I look at you,
Nice delay there.
I feel you.
Just having that straight talking bit where like that directly approaches the listener, you know, interacts with us. That's really important. That's a super cool thing that's occurring there, because a lot of the songs spent in that higher octave, that higher range. So when you come down for like the serious, like the real talk, it seems like you're in the room with them, and you have these sort of these choir, like just utterly pleasant kind of vocal harmonies going on in the background that are sort of more like of an instrument at that point.
Now, I'll never forget the way you said you felt it too. I'll never forget when you talked all night, shared our truths. I'll never forget the wind and our balcony love.
I haven't listened to like as much falsetto within a song like this before, and sort of I'll be honest, like I tend, if there's a lot of falsetto in a song, sometimes I find it sort of irritating, and it's an irrational thing. I admit that as a reviewer, it's an irrational thing. I don't know why it irritates me, but occasionally it does. But it's like with Mr. Sephyr Patriq, it's just the way that he's got such fantastic technique. It's so soft and genuine and fragile and vulnerable and human that I adore it. I adore the way that he uses head voice like that. I think there's just this intricate understanding of vocal harmonies and these intervals and stuff like that that is on display here that really just blows me away. It's incredibly complex in the way that they've been layered. You've got like 3 or 4 vocal parts there alone. You're creating triads and extended harmonies and stuff. It just blows me away. And like the percussion is very, very like low key. The bass rolls with an offbeat or like a second or fourth note, quarter note. You know, it's clear where we should be focusing our attention. Let us fuse. Got it. Hook line. Let us fuse 1 from 2. Really clear lyrics. You get the impression. You understand the context from the rest of the song earlier. Beautiful. Wonderful. More of that whistle voice. I don't know how they do it, but it blows me away whenever I hear it. Even that like sort of pianissimo section there with it, ooh, except like 2 octaves higher. It's just that keeping that note at that amount of volume is just, ooh, goodness. And they woke up the next morning together and started a new life as one. What a brilliant piece of music. I've enjoyed listening to this. Like, I genuinely have enjoyed listening to this. It was a great time. And then we've got Never Bit the Apple, the last track for today.
The apple, if it never bit the apple, would we still be happy? There in the garden.
Garden of Eve, right?
Maybe an orange.
This is an interesting topic.
It gives me all a chance to know we know nothing, nothing, nothing.
So this is sort of more of a contemporary kind of like. I hear a fair bit of his music through that 2010s. It's nice for Sephyr Patriq to show his range. Embrace Us Fuse, Never Bit the Apple. You know, I know that Embrace Us and they are different. They're slightly different types of a similar sort of genre of music. Never Bit the Apple, sort of a little more sort of contemporary. But they're all fantastic songs.
If I never say I loved you, if you never say
It's nice to have this additional sort of drum layer there, but I also enjoy just having Sephyr at the start as well.
love me, if I never
You can have both.
thought you were true, would you disappoint me?
Again, having that tail with things panned to the side, vocals on either side. You got that big old chord. It's just fantastic. Excellent.
If we never had us back, would I have peace of mind or never learn my lesson? What about free will?
So is this song talking about like, you know, not letting the snake, like people making their own choices, but not getting led astray by things and sort of staying focused on what's important to them? Because like this overall sort of like section here kind of sounds very much like it's very peaceful, and it kind of makes me think that that's kind of it, is that you can not get tempted by things, fall into temptation, and you can be incredibly happy. I could be misinterpreting it, but a very simple do-do-do-do kind of tom fill there. Huge amount of delay and reverb on this. It's a different production style to Us, Fuse, and Embrace, and again, I think that matches the style of music he's going for. You need to have different approaches, because otherwise everything will just sound the same.
God is the architect of this living building. Billions of tenants, all unaware of the moments to treasure the point of it all.
Quarter note driving kick, cool. Phil came back. And that piano and like the floaty kind of synth pads have continued throughout most of it.
Winter and spring, no If she never bit the apple, if you never bit the apple, would we still be happy? There in the garden.
Or is it sort of saying like, if we had never bit the apple in the first place, would we still be happy? Yeah, would we not have to suffer like this?
Love's never right, and we never had us back. But would I have peace of mind? Never learn my lesson.
Kind of reminded me of Embrace there with the haven't learned. Yeah, I think he said things similar in that as well. There's a connection between these songs. I mean, with Embrace and Never Bit the Apple anyways. I suppose that's a very valid point. Like, for a lot of us, we haven't actually done the thing that's wrong, so why are we getting punished for things that other people have done? Why take responsibility for what we're not responsible for, you know? It's a very breathy delivery of this. Is a nice way to finish this. Because that kind of texture adds a bit, but ironically, a bit more oomph to it. Finishing on Lovers All or Lovers Whole, it's just a great way to end that, saying that no matter what happens, you just need to remember to love and appreciate people and be kind to yourself and to other people. You know, even if you've made mistakes, it's about kind of trying to be kind to yourself and looking for what you can do better next time. Embrace Feel the Same, which I believe is about a post breakup, or like after maybe there was a separation. He's just trying to move on. He's just struggling with it and sort of like trying to. It's just remembering how the good times, how painful they were, and Us Views is about remembering the good times. But like they ended up getting together in the end, and they enjoy the night together, and they're nostalgic about that. And Never Bid the Apple was talking about, I assume, the Adam and Eve in the garden with that kind of thing, and talking about temptation, how to fix us, and how we need to sort of resist it. These are three incredibly interesting songs to me. I think that there was not a single moment where I was bored. The production was fantastic, and I know I said fantastic quite a few times. It's because I mean it. Like I can't really sort of like see any major issues or flaws in how the different instruments were chosen. Texturally, they fit well together. The only thing that kind of caught me off guard a little bit was Embrace, was that kind of the trumpet thing, but I understand why it was there, and as the song progressed, I understood why that particular color, that shade was in the mix. It's I love what's been done in terms of the instrumental work in this, the performances themselves, whether or not they were sort of sampled or done with live beat machines, whether they were recorded acoustically. They sound really authentic, and they fit well with the recording that Sephyr Patriq has done for this. And I cannot begin to imagine how much work would have been involved with layering all the different vocal parts, panning them, putting the different effects on different sort of channels, maybe doing some sub channels and sub mixes. And it's just, as someone who's studied music production, I can only imagine that it would have been a lot of work to get these tracks sounding how they are. But that's a testament to Sephyr Patriq's kind of like what they're going to put into music, what they're going to dedicate to it. This is a professional singer, professional musician, and I think that Sephyr Patriq, you should be very proud of themselves for what they've managed to accomplish here. I've mentioned several times how I feel about, vocally, I'd say that it's pretty clear to I don't know enough about vocals to begin to sort of criticize, but I have a feeling that this is as good as you can get for the most part. This is like the really high tier of stuff. This is like an artist that if they wanted to, they could probably do some major label stuff with the level they're at. And at times, even though like it seemed to me like maybe there was like quite a lot going on, especially in Embrace, I understand why there was. So there's been occasions where there's been a lot of layering of vocals, and I've gotten confused by it, and I don't know why that's occurring. But with this one, Embrace kind of feels like you are being embraced, and all those vocal layers around you in the headphones kind of make you feel a sense of warmth. In that regard, I think it works very, very well. This is effectively my review of Sephyr Patriq's various tracks, so hopefully you enjoyed this. I always feel like I miss stuff when I'm doing these reviews, because, sometimes I do. Sometimes I forget a sort of instrumental part. Sometimes, like lyrically, these songs, the parts I listened to clearly stated what they were clear in their intent, and they were emotionally important, and they had the story was set up in a way that made a lot of sense, in that you get sucked into the world of it. The lyrics were written well too. There was no point where I was like, why is that being said? And again, it's just I really want to see where Fair Patrick goes in the future. So if you do, please do go check out their various social medias. And I'm assuming they have like Spotify and SoundClouds and all that. And stay cool, stay safe. Remember, support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need to help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch you next review. Spider hands out.